How important is writing today? The way to write a lot is to write consistently. Do you know that if you wrote 500 words a day for 300 days out of the year, so that's taking more than 2 months off even, if you wrote for 300 days a year, you could write the equivalent of 3 books. I'm talking books like The Notebook, The Great Gatsby, The Red Badge of Courage. All of those books are about 50,000 words, and you could feasibly write 3 of them in a year, writing 500 words a day. Does that sound appealing to you? But as good as that sounds, the reality is that often life squeezes out our writing time. Even when we're doing just small bits of time, like 30 minutes a day, that can be really hard when life happens, when life events occur that press us for time. Having a baby, starting a new job, new living situations, moving, aging parents, hospitalization, buying a home, or other life transitions can all impact your writing. So can traveling, getting sick, or other unexpected events that disrupt your routine. Well, what do you do then? The answer is to ask yourself one really important question. Here it is. How important is writing right now? That's the question that will give you the answer as to what to do about writing. Sometimes the answer is, it's not very important. When a loved one is dying in the hospital, the most important thing you can do is to be at their side, because you're not going to have that chance again. Sometimes when you're really, really sick, the answer is not very, because you need to get better. That's okay. If writing isn't important right now, then skip it until it is. That's unusual advice, isn't it, from a channel that advocates writing consistently every day. But the reality is that there are times where writing is just not going to be the most important thing in your life. And maybe it's just for today, maybe it's this week, or maybe it's a longer extended time. But by thinking about it and very intentionally making the decision that writing is not as important right now, you can get back to it without shame, without guilt, letting go of that expectation that you should have written all those days that you missed. Let it go. Sometimes writing is not the most important thing. If your answer is, well, writing is important, but I just can't do it today, that's okay too. You intentionally decide to skip writing for a day or two until it is easier to write, until your schedule opens up, until that other thing that is demanding your attention is more resolved. When you can, write. Write in the manuscript if you can. Some people actually find it really helpful during very stressful times to be able to write every day because it maintains some sense of normalcy. If you need that, great, then you get your writing done. Write in your manuscript when you can, but if you can't, that's what the journal is for. Put it in your journal. Again, some people find it really helpful when they're stressed to be able to get their thoughts and feelings out, and putting it in the journal is a perfect place for that. By answering the question, how important is writing today, you'll know what to do. You'll know whether the answer is, I'm not going to write, or whether the answer is, writing is important and I'm going to write in the manuscript, or whether writing is important, but all I can manage today is to journal. Any of those answers is acceptable. Writing fits into your life. It is something you decide to do. It is not about doing this perfectly. It is about writing in such a way that it's sustainable for you so that you can achieve your hopes and your dreams. So I ask you today, How important is writing today? Remember how I said if you write 500 words a day for 300 days, you'd write the equivalent of 3 books? Well, that also leaves 65 days off. That means you have time that you can take off when life gets crazy busy. It means that you have permission to not write every single day. I encourage you to take the first 100 days and write every day, but there will be times where writing is just not that feasible, and you have my permission to enjoy that time off. 65 days a year you could plan to take off and still write 3 books. If you need it, take a vacation. If you're sick, take a sick day. Do what you need to do to make writing sustainable for you. And when you're ready, come back and write every day 500 words in 30 minutes. Consistency is the key, but consistency is not perfection. How important is writing today?